What's up, guys? Now's as good a time as any to do an update on the urban camping situation. So it's highly less than ideal, but it's achieving my goals. And I just want to show you the stark contrast and difference between camping in Steamboat and urban camping in Denver. So this is the solution I've come up with for the time being. All right, so I basically employed a sales strategy in order to find a parkable place in Denver. This is where I'm at right now. It's kind of like somewhere in between a residential neighborhood and an industrial neighborhood. So you can see over here to the left, I'm kind of by these bay garages, and unfortunately, there's quite a bit of noise. There's always semis and trucks and doors opening and slamming and whatnot, just coming up and down this whole road. So that's what, when I say it's less than ideal, I mean, you know, it's not exactly comfortable. The other thing that's strange about this particular spot, I'm wide out in the open, so you can't really tell from the camera angle I've got, but I'm just kind of like stuck out in the open with no trees, and I'm in between the guy's property that I'm staying at and these industrial buildings. So there are times, and it's taken a few weeks to get used to falling asleep, you know, with all the noise and commotion around me. The upside is I'm on like the back side of the property of this house. So the traffic that's going in and out of the house is pretty removed. Nobody comes down this driveway. It's like my own little personal driveway. But yeah, so what I did, I employed my sales knowledge, and I basically started hunting Craigslist for garages for rent. And what I did was I crafted an email saying, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I need. I don't really need the garage space, unless of course the whole camper would fit inside, but do you have anything that would work for me? So out of about 15-20 emails, I got 3 responses. One of them fell through, one of them rented out from under me, and I was left with this one. So the guy that had the ad up was actually renting this garage right here, and you know, it just so happened that all the surrounding property was being rented for cars and trailers. There was actually an RV right here weeks before I got here. So it all kind of worked out, and I'm paying $300 a month with an electric hookup. So part of the deal I worked out, I was like, it's not worth it for me to pay that much unless I've got electrical connection. It's bad enough dry camping without water. I mean, that's a challenge in and of itself, but to not have power, it's just really not worth it. I would almost rather fight the expense of the gasoline and like moving around every couple of days, just doing kind of like super stealth in a camper, give me a break. Just more like stealth urban camping where you have to move every couple of days and appear as though you're traveling, because then you don't have a monthly cost, you know, but the trade-off is propane, and obviously I don't have my solar system up yet, so I wouldn't have electric. So all things considered, you know, for the time being in the short term, this is working out. I've got a power line drug up, and I've got everything I need. Propane to run the stove, electric heater if it does get cold. Although we're back in Denver and things are pretty nice right now. So now, the best part, I traded the beautiful Yampa River for this awesome monstrosity. This is like, I don't know, some kind of central power plant for Excel. Yeah, dude, this is like my front yard now, which really sucks, but especially considering I'm one of those guys that's like uber concerned about EMF fields and whatnot. I'm literally, I don't think you can get any closer to the grid than this. It's actually hilarious. Like, my whole goal and aspiration is to get off the grid. That's why I'm back in Denver, so I can earn more money to buy the land to get me away from this thing. And the hilarious like paradox here is, in order to get off the grid, first I must literally be attached to the grid. So yeah, I don't like that, but it is what it is. So in terms of like the pros and cons, you know, the things to consider are this. I've already tried this once in Denver, pulling the trailer and trying to hide and stuff. It's not easy. I mean, I've seen various videos of people doing it in vans. I think a van or a car is a different situation in Denver. I do think it's more of a chill city and you can get away with it in a lot of places. But when it comes to RVs, man, this city is littered with them. I mean, you go to the rough parts of town and the homeless are just like, I understand why they don't want people living in their RVs. It's this small crowd of shitty homeless people, and I say that with love. Like, I'm empathetic to the situation, I really am. I even just put a Facebook post up a couple of days ago about how it was breaking my heart, all the people that are hurting, you know, right here in our city and right around every corner. There's people that need help, and the city doesn't do anything about it. So that's a subject for another day, but my point is, if I'm fair, and if I come from the other side of the coin, it's these people that are just so trashy, and they got crap hanging out of their RVs, and you know, they're in a Walmart parking lot and stuff's just strewn and littered, or the people in cars where they've got the hood open and the wheel off and it's broken down and they got clothes spilling out of the back. I mean, come on. There's a huge difference between flying under the radar and like doing something because you really need to and to get by. I think an awesome channel for that, by the way, is Will Prowse. He's like #1 RV survivalist. I really appreciate his videos. But you know, there's a big difference between that and just being a drain on all society. And that's what's annoying, is like, they make these laws and regulations for good reason, to prevent people from trashing the streets. And so it was important for me. I didn't want to be approached by the police all the time or questioned about what I was doing. And so while it is free to like skate around and whatever, the cops are so on top of that here due to that issue. I just was like, I would rather find a place that I can rent at someone's property or driveway, and that way at least I'm welcome on their property and I don't really have to think about that. So it's definitely been worth it for me in terms of the rent. I feel successful that I drove the rent at the KOA and basically cut it in half. I mean, that was my first run. I think I was paranoid to be camping in the winter, but in retrospect, that's way too much, man. I could have rented a room for $575 a month, and while it was a hell of a fun camping trip, this has always been like a financial pursuit towards a greater goal, and so I gotta keep that fresh in my mind. And so I think boondocking with no water is a good compromise to save the money. So I do have an Anytime Fitness that's like 2 minutes away, and I think that's the best thing about my location. Literally, I could walk there, and I have walked there within 10 minutes, and I've got a natural grocers, Target, the gym, everything's right there. So it's not the best commute for work, but I am driving a lot all over the city, and so it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna have to make that drive time no matter what. And in the short term, this is a place where I can be relatively left alone, save a considerable amount of money, and I'm working towards goals. So I really want to hear your comments, what you guys think of the situation. Is it worth it in your eyes? I mean, I'm really having to tuck a lot of personal feelings down. It seems almost like awful and sad to me that given my goals, this is what I have to stare at for God knows how long. Which it's like I've been working at this for a year and I haven't been able to put money back. I am really shifting my mindset and shifting my focus right now. I mean, I've just turned on the gas 120%. It's like, okay, all things take a back seat to the #1 goal. The #1 goal is to build momentum. And in order to do that, I think I have to go all in 100% with my focus on work and letting go of whatever is comfortable or fun in the meantime. Oh man, I just ran out of storage on my phone, so we gotta wrap this up quick. I just wanna disclose that like, I'm not super thrilled about this, and everyone should know that it's definitely not all roses, man. Like, this might seem fun and exciting, but you know what else it feels like? It feels like living in poverty. And that's a mental state that I do not want, and it's unfamiliar to me, but I've noticed myself slip into that several times. It's really easy when you're in a tough situation just to get down on yourself and your own goals and to look around and be like, what am I doing? So, you know, I'm aware of it, and I'm working towards shifting that mindset to one that's more about prosperity, because that's the whole purpose here. And I would still encourage people to put your best foot forward and go for it. Like, if you don't take action towards your goals, nothing is ever going to happen. So I just, you know, I'm really learning, and I'm learning through the help of a lot of books and information on YouTube how much work really goes in to creating your path and your destiny. And you can't just have an idea. You gotta like have an idea and then work your ass off for it. So I'm willing to do it, but just know that like I've definitely considered other options. I've considered apartments and rooms. I've done the math, I've looked at it, weighed the benefits, and in some ways, especially for Shiloh's sake, I do wish that I could rent a room sometimes or have a backyard. But I also know that if we can just stick it out for a short amount of time, I'll have enough money put away that I can put a down payment on some land, and the next videos that we'll make towards the end of summer are gonna be on my own property. So, cannot wait. I'm sticking with the mission and I'm staying focused. Peace.